This is the second episode. Really, it's not the second episode, but it is the second episode because I haven't been consistent. Um, Unfortunately, and fortunately, I'll say that again because everything happens for a reason, not to make excuses. I think when people say everything happens for a reason, it can be used in a negative way, but this is not one of those moments. So again, this is the second episode, although it's not, but we are going to be consistent now. Um, I started it, ET, Evolving Through Experience, for a plethora of reasons. If you go back to the first one, um, it's a plethora, but it's also so simple at the same time. This is the second episode, but let me say, although it may be the second episode, it will not be the last. And I first want to start off by saying I don't know where I'm starting at with it, which I said that on the first episode, although this is the second and it will be a little longer. Although I don't know where I'm starting with it, I've have started and I'm going to continue. I don't even know what the last schedule was. I think I was dropping obviously every week. I don't know what day of the week I was dropping, but it doesn't even matter now because like I said, we're on a new car. We're in a new car. And we're gonna start where we're at today. So I also think I'm gonna have my supporters in the audience decide what day of the week will drop and maybe even the time. I don't know about the time yet. Obviously, it's got to make sense, but even in the meantime, I'm just gonna put out the content because at the end of the day, it's vital regardless of what anybody else thinks. And obviously, nobody even haven't hasn't told me that it wasn't vital. I think I have more people that's been telling me, ask me when I'm going to start again or where I'm going to get the brand back up. It never really left. It's just life and my experiences have been experiencing, and I have been evolving. And at the end of the day, like I said on the first episode, I needed it more during those times, even now, versus when I first started. When I first started, I feel like I had a clear vision. I had everything aligning, which I believe things are still aligning, but sometimes a detour can happen in order to get you on the same path you want to go, but just a different route versus what the GPS is saying. And even with that being said, I don't really follow GPSs. And I don't mean that in a actual physical sense. I just mean we got to figure out life for ourselves and through our experiences and not letting society put their beliefs on us. With that being said, today's episode, season one, obviously, episode two, is going to be named F Society Beliefs. And this is family friendly, kid friendly, of course. So F can mean a lot of different things, although I know what I mean by it. Um, I'm just gonna leave it at that, just for the sake of keeping it family friendly. But parents, I think kids should hear this too. With that being said, I don't hide it from my kid. At the end of the day, reason I'm saying F society beliefs is because a lot of things we have been told in society that is not necessarily true. A lot of them are not true, and a lot of them are just lies, plain out lies, lies. And the reason I named it that is because with beliefs, a lot of the beliefs we've been put, if you actually write out belief, it has lie in the middle. And I'm not a fan of that. Even with that being said, I believed certain things have to be a certain way before I get started with something. Society will tell you the same thing. You got to have certain things in order by a certain age, by a certain time, by a certain date, or you haven't succeeded or you have failed. But at the end of the day, I think when you look at it in this mindset of forgetting that all their lies and their propaganda, you can evolve from that. And like I said, this is evolving through experience, and it's not even about being politically correct, quote unquote. It's about just giving the honest truth at the end of the day. And that's why I'm saying it's F Society Beliefs. I got a shirt like that that I actually made because everything I've put out for Evolving Through Experience is really just a matter of letting people know, like, yo, this is our life. This is your life. You can't get caught up in what society telling you what to do. Although time does fly, you do have time. So when we come back, I'm going to get more into why I said F society beliefs. Society beliefs, and I say that freely, no shame on it. That's why I also put it on a shirt from Evolving Through Experience, because when I started this brand, it was just me coming out in a sense of like, I'm gonna do this my route, I'm gonna do this my way, and not on no negative rebellious, just because it was more on rebellious because it's another route that hasn't we haven't been exposed to. It's another route that we've intentionally not been exposed to, as far as understanding how to evolve. And what does evolve mean? Evolving on a continuous level, because from a mental, from a spiritual, from a emotional, and even a physical standpoint, those are all beyond vital, and none of those are honestly taught in our schools. And obviously that's intentional. I'm not going to get into that on this episode, but as far as what I'm saying, F society beliefs is not only because of all of that, because at the end of the day, they're going to try to tell you how to get to the end of the road. um, and some people going to tell you how to get to the end of the road on a road that you don't even want to travel on. Not even that, on a road that they haven't even traveled on. And one, even with that, it's people that's life is about a journey. It's not have it all figured out in one day. So you can't tell somebody honestly how to travel on a road or on a path that they haven't experienced for their own, and you haven't experienced for your own. And at the end of the day, with that being said, everybody has a different path. So how can you tell somebody how to travel on a certain path? And this is why I say F society beliefs, because if you actually type it out or write out beliefs, it's really lies in the middle. So they put these beliefs in our kids, in our adults. Obviously, it starts as a kid, and you grow up believing this is the route, or not being exposed to an actual another way, in so many different aspects, that it's like you fall victim to it and not even realize it. At some point, you can't always be victim, of course, but that's a whole nother topic. But as far as the beliefs that we've been taught, it has to change, and we have to honestly understand it, overstand it, see it, in order to pretty much make a change and start evolving from it. Because if you don't question the things, and you just continue to go down a route that's probably obviously more than likely not working, for you, why would you continue to let society tell you how something should be? Everybody's here for a purpose, and we have to figure that purpose out. But I believe you have to figure that purpose out by actually experiencing for your own, not listening to somebody else tell you how to experience or how to go live life. So that's why I say F society beliefs. At the end of the day, I used to have a shirt that actually said "Blame Society," which is actually still very true to this day. Actually, I think I seen Hove wear one time, and then I went and ordered one, because and at this point I was probably maybe under 10. I don't know. Don't quote me on it, but I knew I was very young when I seen this shirt. So I ain't gonna say always, but from a very young age, I could definitely say I've been in tune, and not by, and that's intentional and unintentional. I'll get into that on another episode, of course. But I've been in tune from a very young age, so obviously I wasn't thinking how I'm thinking now at that point, but the seeds was definitely birthed at that point. And also I want to touch on, when I say F society beliefs, is time flies. I know society tell us, they tell us both. They tell us time flies, and also you don't have time. Um, which both are actually true. I wouldn't even say that's a lie. But at the same time, even with that being said, it is some lies in between it, because obviously time does fly, but at the same time, you do have time. But like I said, time still does fly. With that being said, I think people have to allow their journey to be their journey and not allow it to be rushed, but also don't allow it to be delayed. So obviously with the don't rush, you don't have to feel like you have to do everything today or by tomorrow. It's going to happen when it needs to happen, obviously with you working towards it. And that's come from a different, plenty of different aspects when I say not rushing and working towards it. But at the same time, you don't have to feel rushed. And we're going to get a bit more into that, because this is actually something I spoke with my brother about, and we just spoke recently again about it. I want to shout out my little brother Elijah, Eli. Um, I have a lot of brothers, if y'all haven't known, and that's something I'll be talking about as well because it's evolving in that. And like I said, no topic is really off, no subject is off limits, and we're really gonna be getting into a lot of things. It might be triggering for some people, but if it is triggering, I still encourage you to listen because it's gonna be triggering, but we're gonna get to a place where it's gonna be a healthy dialogue or a healthy conversation, whatever you want to call it, that can be had afterwards, and also lessons that can be taken from it. And more than likely, it's triggering because it's relatable. And I'm here to tell you, you're not alone. I think a lot of these things that we're going to talk about here, I'm speaking about it from my own personal experiences, and people and the guests I'm going to have on more than likely will be speaking about it from their experiences or experiences of others. But with that being said, you could still take lessons from it. So obviously, a while ago, me and my brother had a conversation, just like not even a heart to heart, but just regular conversation that we actually need to make more normal, just about life and how are we feeling from a mental and even spiritual standpoint. And long story short, I ain't gonna get into the details as of yet with it because obviously I'd rather have him on so we could have a conversation again and see what was the main points of it and go from there. But recently, actually like a few days ago, he texted me like he took some of the advice I've given him, as big brothers should do. I personally believe, and even younger brothers can give older brothers advice as well. So let me just throw that out there first and foremost. But he took the advice that I gave him, and recently he just texted me and told me that a friend of his actually I'm gonna tell you the exact text, but I'm gonna sum it up first. That his friend actually was just giving him thanks because he was like, yo, like you really pretty much influenced me in a positive way, with the different advice and pretty much leading by example. And he just the pretty much the friend just said he gave him influence over his life these past few months. And my brother reached out to me and just said thank you because he said thank you for real, because he was just like, yo, you one of the reasons I'm capable of doing that. And honestly, I'm proud that my brother said that, and I don't even need no kudos or thank yous from it. Although it does feel good, we're not going to act like it doesn't feel good to get a thank you. But at the same time, I don't do it for the kudos. I do it because I know I've been in certain positions where I needed advice or needed somebody, quote unquote, to look up to pretty much help me move forward in whatever experience I was experiencing at the time. He was just like, he don't obviously think himself as a bad person, but he never thought that somebody he would be influencing people. So obviously the advice I gave him led to that. And some of the advice I gave him, like he was just like, obviously not to go into exact detail, but different things like bother him, just like we all do, truth be told. So it's not even like it's a secret. It's just life be lifing. And that means so many different things. But he was just like, the guy was influenced by him, and one thing, the advice I gave him was like, yo, like we got to take this day by day. We got to practice obviously meditation, the way we breathe in, the way we interact, even down to the music we listen to. So I was just telling him, one of the biggest things I did tell him, like, bro, every morning just meditate, like take a few moments. And meditation can be happening in several different ways, let's be clear. But I just like take a few moments and just pretty much say affirmations to yourself, think and put out positive energy into the world, into the universe, and like it's gonna come back to you. And he probably did. I told him just do it for a week straight. Like I promise you're gonna see a difference. He did it for a week straight, and obviously he continued, but he did it for a week straight because this is I forgot this was probably obviously early last year of 2022. And I'm like, yo, just take a moment every morning and just obviously be grateful for what you do have and put out to the universe that you're grateful for your day. Today is going to be a great day. It's super simple. We don't even have to overthink this. I know some people may feel like meditation is something so hard. Obviously, it's different levels to it, but obviously, simple can still be very effective. And obviously, it was effective for him. So I'm just proud as a big brother that the advice I gave him was actually beneficial, and now somebody that he's been a friend of his has actually told him like he's influenced him in many different ways for the better. I'm glad that he feels that it was came from me, although I feel like that was all him. But at the end of the day, I do can say I still played a part to some degree, and I'm thankful for that. And I'm gonna tie it back into how I personally believe that again, F society beliefs, and it's not even a belief. This is a fact because we got to be very careful with our wording here. Because again, it's F society beliefs because this is an example of like that's something that wasn't exposed. We're taught to not deal with our emotions. We're taught to not communicate or talk about them or try to figure out by talking to another person. But truth be told, that's something we need to do more often, especially with our own family. I'm definitely gonna have an episode on here with my not obviously my entire family because it's a lot of us, but my immediate family because one thing we used to do, and we fell off, unfortunately, but also I'm gonna say fortunately. I think it's just obviously we've been busy, but overall we used to have every week we have family calls for at least an hour, and we're going back and we're talking about what happened, when it happened, and not so much to bash anybody, but like we're here to have a dialogue on so we can start healing as a family. And we did this consistently every week, at least for an hour. We obviously we would change it up, but at least we dedicated and made sure we made time weekly. So when nobody was working, everybody had to make time so we could sit down and have a dialogue about like how we're gonna grow as a family, first as individuals, but in order to do that, I think we sometimes have to address our coming up and upbringing in no matter what sense that is. So I definitely look forward to having that episode with them and actually breaking it down because I don't think anybody, no podcast, no brand, anything has done anything like that as of yet. And I hope I could be the first one to do it. And I believe I am going to be the first one to do it because I think we talk about it so much and we see it now more on Instagram about, oh, we got to do this, but who's actually being more transparent about it? And I think that's something we're going to do. I look forward to the episode because I know how powerful it was just with us. And it's going to be the same because we're going to just talk like we normally talk. It's not going to be scripted. It's not going to be sugar coated. It's going to be the honest, God's honest truth because I think somebody got to lead by example. And I'm going to put myself and my family out there for that in a healthy aspect, not what we see on TV, people yelling and cursing at each other. Because at the end of the day, no, I don't think any positivity or beneficial lessons is going to come from that. I think that's just going to cause more issues than honestly needed. So again, this episode is called F Society Beliefs. It is the second episode. I'm looking forward to the many more to come. I already know that I'm going to get support. And if you don't like it, tell a friend. If you do like it and you do love it, tell a friend. And I'm looking forward to seeing how we're going to bring ET back on a new way, in an evolving way, because again, this is the second episode. I wasn't consistent. I'm not gonna say we, but I wasn't consistent when I first started. When I first started, I was, but things happened, life experiences, and then I never got back around to it. Obviously, I kept the merchandise, I kept the website up, I kept the emails up because at the end of the day, this is honestly a purpose. This is my passion with evolving through experience and all the goals and visions I have for it. So I didn't want to feel like I just let it go and come back to it another day. Although I did say I'll come back to another day, but that day is today. That day was yesterday. That day was when I first decided I'm just gonna start again and figure it along the way. So I'm looking forward to all the supporters. I'm looking forward to seeing us bringing it back. And when I say us, it's a family, it's a community. That's what evolving through experience base was, and we're gonna keep it there. And I'm looking forward to see where we take it because with evolving through experience, like I said, when I say evolving, I mean that in such a beautiful, growthful way that even from day one, I said the way we're gonna take evolve through experience, it's gonna evolve so much that I'll change the logo. Obviously, simple things like the website is going to get updated, but I'm willing to change the logo um, on a consistent basis. I'm not saying monthly, but at least every 3 to 4 years as we're evolving through this company, the logo is going to change because this is bigger than I could even put in words. So thank you all and looking forward to more episodes evolving through experience.